Well, balance balance is sort of a false goal, right? I won't say necessarily that it's impossible, but it's not the right target. It may not even be an idea that's valid. And here's what I mean, Finn. Think about the number of factors at play. Like everybody complains about you know the CR rating, like the challenge rating or the CR of a monster or the CR level that things should be. But yes, all that stuff is really screwy. But let's imagine that that stuff was perfect. Let's imagine that mathematically everything made sense. Well, there's also a whole lot of other stuff that sort of is working against us that imbalances our encounters, right? Relative player skill, how much the players are paying attention, how much they work together. Certainly what they've gone through prior, like if their minds are in the game, also on us, like if we forget things. Like the skews are all working against us achieving any sort of like quote unquote balance. So instead, I would think about it more as like how do you give yourself the most flexibility at the table? Best, yeah, satisfying or more broadly speaking, the goal of the encounter is the goal of the encounter, right? Is it to be a life-threatening thing? Is it to be a gentle reminder that things are lethal, or that there's a even better? Is it to communicate a story? Is it meant to introduce a new mechanic or to introduce a new sort of dynamic to this area or the dungeon that's being explored? There's lots of good reasons for an encounter for conflict to happen. One of my favorite things to do, and some people say this is controversial. I don't think it is at all, but different smart people disagree, I guess. Um, Try using hit point ranges on your monsters. And by ranges, I mean when you're figuring out your monsters or you're choosing them and putting them into a fight or into initiative, rather than giving them a set hit point, like usually people will either use the average in the book or in whatever book you're using, or sometimes people will roll dice and give it an actual number. Using the dice that are listed for calculating the hit points, you can find the minimum hit points that creature can have and the maximum hit points that creature can have. Write down that range, right? So if it's like, I'll use a really easy example. If it's 5d6 plus 5, like that's the hit points of this monster, that means that the minimum of 5d6, well, that's 5 plus 5 is 10, right? If you rolled 5d6, if you rolled a d6 and each one of those was 1, you'd have 5 plus the 5 additional, so the minimum HP is 10. And the maximum HP is the max of that, so 5d6, so that'd be 30, right? Plus the 5 is 35. So 10 to 35, like that monster's hit point range is 10 to 35. What you now know when you're running it is that it can never go down until it hits at least 10. And if it has to go down if it hits 35. And in between those two like points, you're flexible. Now, obviously, like this, with great power comes great responsibility. But when you talk about balancing, how do you balance it? How do you keep things where you want them to be in an encounter? When I say want them to be, is it really challenging? Is it not so challenging? Should it be life-threatening? Hey, this isn't supposed to be a TPK. How do I pull back from this ledge? Or, man, they're wiping the floor and these are supposed to be tough enemies. How do I ratchet it back up a little bit? Usually after one round of combat, you'll kind of know where in that range you want to fall. Set that as early as you can, and go with it. Use that as a tool for adjustment. My favorite way to use it is to, like I said, wait about a round or two to find where things are falling, and then I'll usually set the point for myself at the point where it's quote unquote bloodied. Like I usually announce that to my players, like, oh, okay, they're bloodied now. And at that point, the HP is sort of fixed, right? At that point, I have the point where I know what the full HP is going to be for that creature. But by giving yourself that flexibility, like I find I stress a lot less about making effective encounters because I'm not just going off of what I thought yesterday or last week. Now I'm able to actually do some game design while the game is happening. which can be really helpful. So that's something to think about.